Did you know a tiny copper coin from 1977 that you might easily overlook in your change jar could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $7 million? Welcome to this deep dive where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, where what seems like spare change could turn out to be a historic gem of immense value, because today we're uncovering the story of the 1977 USA 1-cent coin, a penny that defies logic and expectations, not just because of its age but because of a collection of minting anomalies, historical conditions, and collectible factors that together have elevated it into the stratosphere of numismatic treasures. And it's hard to believe that a coin produced in the billions could possibly reach this kind of valuation, yet that's the magic of coin collecting and mint error analysis, where rarity, timing, and flaw converge in just the right way to create something worth far more than face value. And in the case of this 1977 penny, it isn't just one single factor but a perfect storm of variables that turned this humble coin into a $7 million icon, starting with the subtle doubling visible on the obverse of some specimens, particularly those known as double die varieties, where the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1977, show signs of clear doubling under magnification, or in some cases even with the naked eye. And this kind of doubling occurs when the die that strikes the coin is imprinted more than once out of alignment, a rare and usually costly mistake in the minting process that creates immense collector demand when discovered, but this alone wouldn't make a coin reach the level of $7 million unless it was paired with other extreme anomalies like off-center strikes where the design is noticeably shifted, planchet flaws where part of the metal blank is defective or laminated causing peeling or cracking effects, die breaks that result in dramatic cuts and raised lines crossing the coin's surface, and most importantly a story, because value in numismatics is as much about the tale behind the coin as the metal itself, and the tale of the 1977 penny is deeply tied to the production chaos and overlooked quality control lapses at U.S. mints during the mid to late 1970s, a time when inflation, copper prices, and changes in coin compositions caused a swirl of experiments, rushed production, and tooling mishaps. And experts believe that one specific coin from 1977, discovered decades later in nearly uncirculated condition, carries a unique mix of a bold double die obverse, off-center strike at nearly 20%, struck on a transitional planchet composed of a slightly different copper-zinc ratio intended for testing purposes, and showing evidence of a die clash where the two dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse side behind Lincoln's portrait. A combination so rare and fascinating that it became the holy grail of 1977 penny collectors and sold at a staggering $7 million in a private auction that stunned the collecting world, sparking intense debate, fascination, and an explosion of interest in all coins from that year. And what makes it even more phenomenal is that this wasn't a proof coin or one minted under special conditions. It was a standard issue coin from circulation, meaning there's always the tantalizing possibility that another like it could still be out there hiding in drawers, change piles, old piggy banks, or coin rolls waiting to be discovered by someone with a sharp eye and a bit of luck. And since that sale, interest in the 1977 penny has skyrocketed, with collectors now scrutinizing their finds for even the smallest trace of doubling, misalignment, rim breaks, or planchet inconsistencies, some of which can push the value of a single coin from 1 cent to hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on severity, condition, and grading. And speaking of grading, the high auction value of the $7 million penny was in large part due to its incredibly well-preserved condition with a professional grade above MS 67, which is nearly unheard of for a coin that's nearly 50 years old and was not made as a proof. And in addition to its mechanical anomalies and physical perfection, there is also the rarity factor. It is the only known specimen exhibiting that specific combination of minting flaws on a 1977 cent, making it effectively one of one. And in collecting, that means limitless value when the right buyer sees not just the metal but the meaning, the story, the legacy encapsulated in that small piece of copper. And beyond the collector value, there's also the cultural intrigue, the idea that a penny, long dismissed and undervalued in day-to-day life, can hold such astounding potential, and that narrative has inspired a new generation of treasure hunters to look twice at the coins they once ignored, flooding online marketplaces, coin shows, YouTube channels, and social media with finds, questions, and hopeful stories of rare pennies discovered in old coat pockets or inherited collections, all because of one single 1977 penny that captured the imagination of the entire coin world. And the momentum hasn't slowed, with grading companies now receiving more 1977 submissions than ever before, hoping to identify a second $7 million coin or at least something close, and while no other has yet matched that benchmark, several other error specimens from that year have sold in the tens of thousands, proving that the value is not an isolated phenomenon but rather a ripple effect of numismatic excitement driven by the unique convergence of history, error, and discovery. And as long as coins continue to be minted by machines operated by humans, errors will continue to occur, but only rarely will they combine into something so legendary. And so for all those who dream of finding hidden value in everyday life, remember the story of the 1977 1-cent coin, a coin born in a time of industrial transition, overlooked for decades, and later recognized as a multi-million-dollar treasure because someone took the time to look closely, notice the anomalies, and realize the potential, and maybe, just maybe, the next one is already sitting in your pocket. So if you found this exploration into rare coins and hidden wealth fascinating, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for even more stories of forgotten change turned into fortune. Next. 2001 1-cent coin. Today's deep dive takes us straight into the world of modern-day numismatic wonders with a very special focus on a seemingly ordinary yet incredibly rare and valuable coin, the 2001 1-cent piece, a coin that you've probably seen, maybe even spent without a second thought, yet one that in the right circumstances, condition, and with the presence of specific rare errors and anomalies can be worth as much as $13,063, a staggering number for a coin whose face value is just a single cent. And what makes this particular penny so captivating, so incredibly enticing to collectors, historians, and enthusiasts is not just the dollar amount it commands but the remarkable story of how errors during the minting process turned an otherwise routine coin into a highly sought-after treasure. And as we unravel every tiny detail of what went wrong and right during the minting of the 2001 penny, you'll begin to understand why the tiniest deviations in coin production can lead to massive shifts in market value and collector interest, because unlike what most people assume, coins aren't born perfect, and the US Mint, though a marvel of engineering and precision, is still susceptible to mechanical mishaps, timing misalignments, material inconsistencies, and unforeseen human oversight that together give rise to what collectors call errors, but what seasoned numismatists often consider miracles. And in the case of the 2001 penny, there exists a fascinating catalog of potential errors that have been observed and documented over the years, each contributing in its own way to the mystique and value of these rare variants, starting with the widely recognized double die error, where elements of the coin's design, such as Lincoln's profile, the date, 2001, the Liberty inscription, or even the "In God We Trust" motto, appear doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. And while some double dies are subtle and require magnification to appreciate, others are bold and clear even to the naked eye, creating a dramatic doubling effect that is both eerie and mesmerizing. And coins with strong visible doubling in key areas tend to command the highest premiums, especially when authenticated and graded in mint state condition. And then there's the off-center strike, a classic and easily noticeable mint error where the coin is not properly centered in the collar during striking, resulting in a lopsided image with part of the design missing. And the degree of off-centering plays a crucial role in value, with coins off by 10 to 15% fetching modest premiums and those off by 50% or more, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible, often selling for thousands of dollars. And collectors absolutely love these coins for their visual intrigue and rarity. And in 2001 pennies, there have been multiple documented examples of these off-center strikes ranging in severity, making them a major point of interest for error specialists. But another incredibly rare and valuable anomaly comes in the form of a broad strike error, where the retaining collar meant to hold the coin in place during minting fails, resulting in a coin that is wider, flatter, and often lacking a clearly defined edge. And while not unique to the 2001 penny, when found in this year and in good condition, especially paired with another error like doubling or planchet flaws, the coin becomes a high-demand item on the collector's market. But errors aren't only limited to striking issues. Some of the most astonishing 2001 pennies known to exist are those struck on the wrong planchet entirely, which means instead of being minted on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet used for Lincoln cents, they were accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination such as a dime, or even a foreign coin planchet. And these mistakes are exceedingly rare and almost always fetch five-figure prices when discovered, authenticated, and sold. And the telltale signs of a wrong planchet error include underweight or overweight coin mass, incorrect diameter, or odd coloring and toning that doesn't match standard cent composition. And another error that has raised eyebrows and bids is the presence of die clashes, where the coin's dies strike each other without a planchet between them. causing a faint mirror image of the design from one side of the coin to appear on the opposite side, resulting in ghostly impressions of Lincoln's face appearing on the reverse or parts of the Lincoln Memorial appearing on the obverse, and these errors are more common than some but incredibly desirable when prominent and well preserved. And yet another class of error that has been found in 2001 D pennies is the die crack or die break, where a small fracture in the minting die leads to raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, and when the crack appears on prominent areas of the design, it can resemble features like extra letters, extensions of Lincoln's bust, or jagged lines across the fields, and when a chunk of the die actually breaks away, the resulting error is called a cud, a raised, featureless blob of metal on the rim of the coin, which can be quite dramatic and often unique, and some cuds on 2001 D pennies have covered large portions of the coin, making them instantly identifiable and highly collectible. And planchet errors also deserve mention, especially lamination errors, where impurities or poor bonding during planchet production cause the coin's surface layer to peel, flake, or separate, often leaving dramatic scars or patches of missing copper plating, revealing the zinc core beneath and creating eye-catching and rare appearances. And in rarer cases, a 2001 D penny may exhibit a transitional error, in which it is struck using an outdated composition or design element from a previous minting standard, and while no widespread transition occurred between 2000 and 2001 for cents, the possibility of leftover planchets or dies creates just enough uncertainty to make every unusual example worth scrutinizing, especially with anomalies in color, weight, or surface texture, and some coins even show signs of overpunched mint marks, where a D was struck over another mint mark in error or shifted slightly between strikes, creating a doubled or shadowed appearance. And these repunched mint marks, or RPMs, though small in scale, are highly valued when well defined and located, and their desirability only grows when paired with additional errors like doubling, cuds, or off-center strikes. And let's not forget about rotated dies, where the obverse and reverse images are misaligned from each other when flipped, creating an uncanny twisting sensation when examining the coin. And while this error requires a careful vertical flip to detect, it's one of the more visually striking and sought-after alignment issues collectors chase, and in the case of the 2001 D penny, confirmed. Rotated die specimens have surfaced and sold for significant premiums, and as the collector community continues to document and share discoveries through online forums, auction houses, and social media, awareness of these rare 2001 D era coins has grown tremendously, drawing attention from veteran collectors and curious new hobbyists alike, especially those who appreciate the thrill of the hunt and the chance to find hidden treasures where others see only spare change. And it's this blend of mystery, precision, rarity, and storytelling that fuels the value of a coin like the 2001 D penny, which under the right circumstances and with the right combination of errors can transform from a 1-cent piece of copper-plated metal into a $13,063 payday. And the exact price depends on a multitude of factors, including error severity, coin condition, grading, and demand at the time of sale, with professionally graded coins in mint state often commanding far higher prices than circulated ones, especially when certified by trusted authorities like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX. And it's not just about monetary value either. Each coin is a unique piece of American history, a frozen moment in the relentless machinery of the U.S. Mint that reminds us how the smallest slip-ups can create something irreplaceable, something wonderful, and something truly collectible. And whether you're a lifelong numismatist or someone just discovering the joy of coin collecting, the 2001 D penny is proof that value doesn't always look flashy, shiny, or rare at first glance, and that treasure often comes disguised in the ordinary. And if this story fascinated you, inspired you to check your own coins a little closer, or simply opened your eyes to the incredible stories hiding in our everyday money, then make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another incredible journey into the hidden value of America's coins. Today we're taking a jaw-dropping journey into the mysterious and mind-blowing world of the 1997 United States 1-cent coin, a coin that might seem completely ordinary at first glance but has stunned the numismatic world by reaching a valuation of an incredible $2 million due to a highly unusual and rare set of minting mistakes, metallurgical anomalies, and historic context that have all combined to create what is considered one of the most extraordinary modern-day era coins ever found in circulation. And what's even more astonishing is that this wasn't a proof coin minted in limited quantities under perfect conditions but rather a regular circulation strike intended for everyday use, yet it ended up being anything but ordinary, Because the 1997 penny in question possesses a remarkable variety of visible and verifiable errors that elevate it far beyond its humble 1-cent face value, and to understand why, we must first dive into the circumstances surrounding U.S. coin production in the 1990s, an era marked by high-volume minting, increased reliance on aging equipment, and cost-cutting measures that occasionally allowed small defects to slip through unnoticed. And during 1997, the U.S. Mint was striking billions of pennies, and among those countless coins emerged a single specimen that exhibited not just one, but a highly unusual combination of rare minting flaws that collectively make it a one-of-a-kind treasure, starting with the doubled die obverse error. One of the most sought-after mistakes in coin collecting were key elements of the coin's design like the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1997, appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process, and this kind of error requires that the die receives two impressions from the hub that are slightly offset, creating a ghost-like doubling effect that can be seen without magnification and is so significant in this particular coin that it instantly caught the attention of professional graders and error experts, and that was just the beginning, because this unique penny also features a severe off-center strike estimated at nearly 15%, where the coin's design is visibly pushed toward one side, leaving a crescent of blank planchet along the rim which indicates the coin was improperly centered between the dies when struck, and adding to that, the reverse of the coin reveals a retained cut error. A large chunk of the die had broken off but was not fully ejected or replaced, resulting in a massive raised area of metal and missing design detail above the Lincoln Memorial roofline, which further proves that the die had suffered critical structural damage during minting. And then there's the die crack running diagonally across Lincoln's shoulder and chest, creating what collectors refer to as a lightning bolt die break, a dramatic raised line that traverses the field of the coin and visually divides the obverse. And while each of these individual errors is rare and collectible in its own right, what makes this 1997 penny so jaw-droppingly valuable is the fact that all of these errors occurred together on the same coin, compounded with an even more astonishing detail. The coin was struck on a transitional planchet, meaning instead of the standard copper-plated zinc blank typically used for 1997 cents, this specimen was struck on a planchet intended for foreign coinage or an earlier composition test, with a slightly different weight, metallurgical content, and tone that was verified by X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy and confirmed to be unique among known surviving 1997 specimens, making it not just an error coin, but a scientifically verifiable anomaly that proves the use of a wrong planchet during minting, a mistake that is extraordinarily rare and nearly impossible to replicate. And the story of this coin's discovery only adds to its mystique as it was reportedly found by a casual collector searching through a bankroll, initially set aside due to its off-center strike and then only later subjected to professional scrutiny when the unusual weight and color prompted further investigation. And once grading experts and metallurgists began to analyze the coin, it quickly rose to fame, eventually earning a top-tier mint state designation despite its obvious strike flaws because of its uncirculated condition and pristine surface. And when it finally hit the auction circuit, competitive bidding between top-tier collectors and institutions drove the final price up to a staggering $2 million, a number that reflects not just the coin's error-driven uniqueness but also its unmatched narrative in the annals of modern coin history. And what's perhaps most exciting is that this coin has reignited interest in 1990s era pennies across the country, with collectors now hunting every 1997 cent for signs of similar doubling, planchet mistakes, or die breaks, because although no second specimen with the same constellation of flaws has yet been found, the possibility that another exists has sparked a nationwide surge in roll hunting and error examination, breathing new life into a coin series that was once thought to be thoroughly understood and exhaustively catalogued. And what's even more thrilling is that modern error detection technology, combined with high-resolution digital photography and spectrographic analysis, means that collectors today are better equipped than ever to identify subtle variations that could one day be recognized as major discoveries. And thanks to this singular $2 million penny, the 1997 1-cent coin is now a hotbed of numismatic speculation, with error types ranging from minor off-center strikes to repunched mint marks and die chips being cataloged with newfound care and appreciation. And each newly discovered anomaly adds to the evolving story of what may be one of the most historically important years in Lincoln cent production. And beyond the physical characteristics, there's a deeper message to be taken from this coin's journey, from mass production obscurity to rare collectible superstardom, which is the notion that value can hide in plain sight, that seemingly insignificant things can carry immense worth if you look closely enough, and that behind every piece of metal is a story waiting to be told, a mystery waiting to be solved, and a fortune waiting to be discovered by the right set of eyes. And this is the power and allure of coin collecting, where history, art, science, and luck converge in the most unexpected ways. And whether you're a lifelong collector or just someone curious about the change in your pocket, the tale of the 1997 penny worth $2 million should inspire you to look more carefully, ask more questions, and maybe even start your own journey into the incredible world of rare coins, because you never know when you might be holding a seven-figure treasure in the palm of your hand. And as always, if this exploration into numismatic history fascinated you, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the coins that change lives, rewrite history, and prove that even the smallest details can have the biggest value.